Bismillah, salatu salam, Rasulullah. How do you, as a busy Muslim professional, Muslim entrepreneur, build your God-centered best potential? We just had a discussion with my friend Peter Gould from the Gould Sydney Art Studio. Beautiful, beautiful work that he does, Peter and his team. I've been looking up to their work of ihsan, work of excellence. And we talked about how, as an entrepreneur, how, as a Muslim entrepreneur, Peter cultivates this sense of presence, this sense of well-being. Why is spiritual and emotional health important for Muslim entrepreneurs? How can we cultivate a sense of peace, a sense of presence, sense of excellence in today's distracted world that we live in, where we feel a sense of stress and overwhelmed in many of the projects and deadlines, and sometimes in our teams? How do we build for ihsan? How do we build that sense of spiritual presence or spiritual excellence? And some beautiful takeaways from our session. Peter mentions something really beautiful about building, the way that he designs and his team designs, and the way that they train other entrepreneurs to design and build, is to build for remembrance, build for dhikr, build for remembrance and not distraction. How do we actually do everything we do in our life for that sense of remembrance, sense of presence? You know, we're asked to strive for excellence. And one of the Arabic words for excellence is ihsan. And the Prophet ﷺ described ihsan as an ta'budullah ka'annaka tarah, that you worship God as if you can experience him, as if you can see him. So having the sense of presence of Allah in our heart as we build our businesses, as we do our work, that our work from 9 to 5, that I get really tired. If I do it for the sake of Allah, with the remembrance of Allah, when I get tired, when I am really exhausted, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves that days of hard work, that full days of hard work. And when we're really exhausted and we're, we are tired, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives our sins. This is beautiful when we seek Allah and his presence in everything we do, seek remembrance. The other really important practice Peter mentioned about during the day, when you have conflict, distraction, difficulties, challenges, obstacles, so taking one of the names of Allah and reflecting on it. That sometimes taking the name of Allah al-Musawwir, the one who shapes everything. Sometimes, Rahman, Allah's mercy, or other beautiful names of Allah. And that's another thing that as we're building our app, Muraqabah, and of course, there's a lot of struggles figuring out, IT, figuring out technical issues, figuring out user experience, figuring out how to reach the user, understand their feedback, do it in a way that really sticks, really serves people. It's not easy, but thinking about the process and the journey and seeking the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than the outcome. Of course, we'll have to look at the outcome, but the first and foremost, if we are sincere and we're trying the best we know and we're doing the best we can, and then we seek knowledge from those that actually have knowledge in terms of, the various areas that we're building, then we're doing that sense of ihsan. We're building for that presence and ihsan and excellence. One of the beautiful things about Muraqabah, the meditation, Muslim meditation mindfulness app we're building, is that we can cultivate a sense of presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by these beautiful name series. That sometimes when we feel that sense of constriction as a professional, as an entrepreneur, and I want to have that expansion, one of the name of Allah, Al-Wasi', the one who grants expansion, Al-Wasi', Ya Wasi' Al-Fadl, the one that has expansive bounties and blessing. When there's no ways, no doors, no windows, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can open a new door. And reflecting on these beautiful names really help us build a sense of relief. But how can we cultivate a sense of relief, sense of calm, sense of presence, sense of really, doing things from the heart, doing things from the soul, and not just our mind and our body, but there is a third dimension, which is our ruh, that will live on. And we also talked about, me and Peter talked about this important concept of we are actually souls having a human experience, We're not just humans that are having spiritual experience, but we're actually souls having human experience. And the human experience is real. We're going to have stresses and overwhelm and difficulty in this life. And during those difficulties, there are tools that we can go back to. And we can learn how to let go of difficult thoughts or unproductive thoughts, cultivating our most positive thoughts, most productive thoughts, cultivating gratitude, working through loss or failure or anxiety or stress and overwhelm. There are things we can do that can help us cultivate that sense of spiritual, emotional well-being in a God-centered environment. That's what we're trying to do. This was an important practice in our deen that we, as Muslims, sat down and we meditated and reflected in a way that we fully cultivated, our best selves. And we gave that up in a way that even Salah has become rituals. The real purpose of that was to cultivate presence, to cultivate sense of hudur, presence of Allah, cultivate and activate the heart, so that when we're in our worship, in Salah, in dhikr, in Quran, we're actually experiencing. So another really important thing we talked about, Peter and I, was that we talked about the beauty of this building for awe and building with that sense of awe and wonder. That when we walk into the Blue Mosque or we walk into Alhambra, we feel surrounded by awe and majesty, and not give that up as adults, as people that are building, people that are professionals, entrepreneurs, that always have the sense of curiosity, the sense of openness, the sense of questions, to learn and look at things with a new lens, and specifically looking at the wonderment and signs and majesty and greatness of Allah and everything around us. Specifically talking about immersing ourselves into the nature. And we referred to our dear friend and teacher, Dr. Abdullah Rahman, recently mentioning one of our lives that we find our true nature in the nature. And we have to go out in the nature to really find our true nature, disconnect, and really cultivate that sense of wellness. So cultivating our spiritual, emotional wellness is really important. It also needs to be balanced with our physical wellness, our getting our walks and our exercise and our sleep and our nutrition, our water intake. All of that needs to be, balanced, the balance between the spiritual, mental, physical self, and then cultivating this sense of ihsan, while we go after, our financial security, while we build deep social, connection, our families, our relatives, our friends, and that sense of suhbah, companionship that can help us. We talked about having suhbah, or really good companions that can really guide your path, guide your way, and being close to them as you build, as you work. That even if it's just a couple of people that can always, you're able to share things with them, your challenges with them, they can help you get to your better self, get away from your lower self, get closer to God, get closer to spiritual excellence. So hope these points that we discussed are beneficial to you, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you tawfiq to continue to cultivate your best self, spiritually, in a God-centered way, your emotional best self, physical, financial best self, inshallah, as you work, as you build, as you do your beautiful thing as an entrepreneur. Make dua for our upcoming app, Muraqaba. Support us at launchgood.com/mindfulness. And check out the Heart Center design by Peter and his studio, and all the beautiful work Peter does. Inshallah, I'm putting the links here. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi